blah 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 blah. Otakuettes, ooh, meow. Hello, blah 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 blah, and welcome to my podcast. Iced oatmeal cookie, blah 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 blah. And I'm gonna drink my energy drink, blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah. The blood of my enemies. And then we're gonna get started. So eat some breakfast or lunch, and then let's dive into this fantastic review of ZOM 100, Bucket List of the Dead. Imagine a zombie apocalypse isn't the end of the world. It's the beginning of truly living. That's the brilliant twist behind ZOM 100, Bucket Lists of the Dead, a show that takes an undead genre and injects it with humor, heart, and a much-needed dose of freedom. The anime adaptation produced by Bug Films aired from July to December 2023, with its finale landing perfectly on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2023. Despite its production delays, it made it just in time for the holidays, which is kind of a coincidence because we're talking about this right around the holidays ourselves. So 1 year later, licensed by Viz Media and Muse Communication, this series brought Haruo Aso's manga to life. ZOM 100 became available in 2018. So this is a very new anime and a very new manga. You could say that this is kind of like one of our modern day manga animes. I'm really excited to review this today, and this is going to be a deep dive on the anime and a deeper dive on mental health and how it relates to one another. I watched this at the most perfect time in my life where I've kind of been struggling with some mental health instabilities of my own. Seeing this anime and what it stands for really resonated with me. The manga was written by Haruo Aso and it's illustrated by Kotaro Takada. Its first volume hit shelves in 2019, so the serialization started in 2018. And if the anime isn't your thing, and if manga isn't your thing, there is a live action film, which I've not watched yet. I will be watching. I'm not really like a zombie show person. Like, if we relate this to The Walking Dead, like I like The Walking Dead for the first couple, maybe first couple episodes. I think I liked it all the way through season 1, and then I kind of lost interest, and like zombies are scary to me. Like, I still have dreams about zombies from watching The Walking Dead, and this is like a decade later. So I didn't think I was gonna like this. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm going to touch on why people may or may not like it. So stay tuned, stay watching. I'm Mackenzie. This is Otakuettes, a deep dive on ZOM 100. A deeper dive on mental health, and a deeper connection that relates between the two. So stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate you being here every week. We are at 122 subscribers, and we are so happy that that number keeps growing. If you would like to follow us on our other socials, we are on all platforms as Otakuettes. Our Facebook name didn't take because Facebook has not approved it yet, but we are currently working on that. As of right now, our Facebook name is Unforgiving Kikyo, as in like Kikyo, Kikyo. So stay tuned. Let's talk a little bit about my mental health and the things that have changed for me in my personal life lately. I had a big change. I switched jobs, and we're going to refer to my old job as the cafe and my new job as the mill. I'm a very personable person. I'm very happy. I'm very outgoing, which is why this episode is going to be a little bit more laid back. I'm not going to be as crazy as I normally am, like when I'm with Caitlin or when I was in my solo Ranma episodes. This is more so going to be me kind of getting really serious and just taking a beat with you all really quick, doing a little bit more exposing of my personal life and my mental health journey than I ever thought I would do online. The reason that I'm going so deep and the reason that I am taking this time to kind of show you my mental battle and the battle that I and millions of other people fight every single day is so that you know you're not alone. Mental health is real. Mental health can be very difficult to navigate. Everybody belongs on this planet. Everyone belongs here. If you feel like you're not loved or you feel like you're alone, there's a community of people out there waiting for you. You just have to find them. So let's kind of talk about my life change. I left my job at the cafe to go and work at a mill. My job at the cafe, I was working with people every single day. I was in charge of a lot of people. It was my responsibility to hire people and to make sure that I put together this well-built team, which I felt like I did. I felt like I did a very good job. The pressures of that environment, they got to me. And I can't blame one person or one thing or something that was said on the way that I felt, but more so it was a culmination of everything. I think society puts a lot of pressure on people to make the right choice, be the best version of themselves. And of course, you want to strive every day to be the best version of yourself. Society puts a lot of pressure on people to be perfect. And it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay not to be happy all the time. What's not okay is beating yourself up over it. And I think that that's a hard reality that all of us have to come to terms with in 2024, especially going into 2025. We all need to kind of prep our mental stability and make sure that we feel confident in who we are and we love who we are before we keep trying to be somebody that we're not. So because of these pressures at the cafe, I was so stressed out. I wasn't myself. I couldn't really recognize myself anymore. And I felt like my time was wasted and my energy was wasted. I think that people just take life a little too seriously. And that was the problem I had with the cafe, because you're working at a cafe. It's a cafe. Everyone's trying as hard as they possibly can, but it's a cafe. Ultimately, we're serving food and drinks. That's the seriousness of it. No one person at any given job should feel so stressed out. Not okay. You should never feel that way. One way that you can combat feeling that way at any job, if you ever feel stuck, you can leave. You have the decision. You have the power to be able to go and change your life. So after feeling all these pressures and after having all this weight on my shoulders for so long, I decided, you know what? I would rather be eaten alive by zombies than work another day at my job. So I found a different job at a mill. I'm a very personable person. I love to make connections with people. I find myself to be like a people person. I'm outgoing. So it's difficult for me. And it says a lot about me as a person and my character for me to go from a cafe job where I am working with people and I'm making connections and I know I'm good at what I'm doing, to then go to a mill where I'm not really talking to anybody. I'm not making connections. I'm now at the bottom of the totem pole and I'm not hiring a team anymore. I'm not working to be part of this bigger plan. I am simply a machine operator. That feels so good to say. It feels freeing. I feel free. I feel like I can conquer the world and do my personal projects because this new job at the mill isn't draining the life from me. I would get home from the cafe and my social battery would be depleted. My friends and family wouldn't see me for weeks or months because I was trying to recover. When I was home, if I wasn't talking about the cafe or thinking about the cafe, because the voices in my head, they never stop. I was sad. I was a zombie. I was stuck in this endless time loop of trying to succeed and trying to please the people around me and meet these high standards and these high pressures that were put upon me. I wasted so much time and energy doing that. I wanted to free myself. I get to this new job at the mill, and of course I'm not wanted and I'm not needed anymore. And that felt a little different because I've always been wanted. I've always been needed. I know a lot of you out there are probably thinking, oh, not everybody needs to like you. That's not the case. Of course, not everybody needs to like me. I can make peace with that. I understand that. But you want to be liked. You want to be loved. Everybody does. And that's okay. So when I get in this mill and people aren't like they're looking at me and they're like, why is she so happy to be here? So here's a bucket of empty bucket, right? And as you drop water in this bucket, it starts filling up. And once the bucket is full, now you're drowning and you're burnt out and you're overwhelmed and you don't know how to make changes. So as people are looking at me and they're like, why is she smiling? And they're giving me like these looks like, okay, like you're so happy to be here. Like we work at a mill, calm down. Couple drops of water in the bucket. And then I do a couple things wrong and people are looking at me and the voices in my head are like, are you even supposed to be here? What are they thinking about you? God, they think you're an idiot. You have pink hair. Like, what are you doing, Mackenzie? What are you doing with your life? Like, you're not meant to be here. Couple more drops of water in the bucket. And I was like, okay, I could get hurt, right? And that's the biggest thing when you work in a mill is safety. You need to stay safe. You can't get hurt. That's terrible. And now I have these voices again, like, are you supposed to be here? What are you doing? Is this right? More drops of water are going into this bucket and this bucket is starting to fill up. This bucket is getting more and more full with water as the days go on. the hours that I work. And then I have people reaching out to me from the cafe telling me that they miss me. And, you know, of course, saying things like, no one can do it the way you did it. And that feels good to have those things be said in hindsight. But does it? Because there are loved ones and family that I want them to want me. I want them to need me. I want them to love me. But those are the only people in reality that I should care about, whether it's their opinions, whether it's things they say or things they think. Even to that extent, you should only care about what you think about yourself. Your perspective and your love for yourself is the only thing in the world that matters. When you can find yourself, whether that's through religion, whether that's through hobbies, whether that's through meditation, reading, resting, working out, that's the way you find yourself. That's the way you love yourself. You find that thing that makes you feel good and you do it. And you do it again and again and again until you feel better, until you love yourself. I'm not saying you go out there and you work out for 24 hours a day, every single day, until you lose weight so you can love yourself because you're skinny. No, find a way to love what's inside. For some people, that's working out. For some people, that's meditation. For some people, that's routines and organizing and cleaning. You need to find something that makes you love yourself. Once you put yourself first over any job, any cafe, any mill, any store, any boss, when you put yourself first, you will realize that you are worth it. You are worth being the first person in line. You are worth getting the call for the interview. You are worth having a job at a place that doesn't stress you out and burn you out and work you into the ground. You are worth it. I'm here to tell you, you are worth it. Everybody is. Every individual out there, nobody is better than the other. So full circle here, I get this new job and my bucket's filling up with water and I'm starting to question what I did. Why did I leave? And I have to remind myself, you left because you were drowning. Your bucket, you have 5 buckets full of water there. This is 1 bucket. How do I empty this bucket out? I start putting in routines. I start getting back into my hobbies. I start making content. I start doing things that are reminding me that I deserve to be first in my life. I deserve to get all of the good things that are coming to me. And I did that by finding things I love and reminding myself why I deserve to be loved. I took that bucket of water and I tipped it upside down and I dumped it out. I got my shit together. And it was right around the time, it was the time that I was watching ZOM 100. And this was just in the last week or two. I had a couple mental breakdowns. Now, mental breakdowns look different for everyone. Some people might have outbursts against their friends and family. Some people might have outbursts at work. Some people might not even have outbursts. Some people might dye their hair a different color or get rid of everything in their old life that reminded them of a person that no longer serves them anymore, an older version of themselves. So everyone's mental breakdowns look different. Everyone has a different story. If you are struggling with mental health or you feel like you are going to take your life or hurt yourself, please call 988. It is the suicide hotline. I figured I would drop that there, especially because we got so deep this episode. We're about to do our deep dive on ZOM 100, a bucket list of the dead. If you want to do small things, to take spoonfuls of water out of your bucket, I highly recommend a Better You podcast. A Better You podcast has helped me put in positive affirmations and reinforcements that I needed throughout all aspects of my life. I watch it every single morning. I have one specifically I watch, and it's her morning positivity, and it's fantastic. I've watched many other of her videos. She has great insight as to what you need to do to be a better you. So A Better You podcast, I will link it in my description. It's fantastic, and it has helped me really get my life together. All right. Let's dive in to ZOM 100. It is time to talk about the anime. Again, everything I just talked about, we're going to connect it all together here. At its core, ZOM 100 isn't just about zombies. It's about breaking free. It's about freedom. You would rather be eaten alive by zombies than work another day at the job that you hate. They do such a great job at showing you that you can be free. And you don't need to wait for a zombie apocalypse to do so. It's really about breaking free from the soul-sucking grind of modern life. It's a love letter to pursuing joy, embracing your passions, and realizing what truly matters. But it's all about doing what makes you happy, find your passions, right? The art style was phenomenal. Instead of using blood, I was kind of concerned because I see these rainbow colors and I know, yes, I love pink, okay? I love pretty colors. I love pretty things. I'm a girly. But I was kind of nervous because I see these rainbow colors on the screen, like all these paint splatters, and I'm like, ugh, this is gonna be kind of gaudy, right? But I also didn't want it to be gory because I'm afraid of zombies. So when we started to get into the first episode and the zombies were coming out, I was so happy that the blood was the paint splatter. It kind of put this unique spin on it because you didn't have to see this blood over and over and over again. Now, of course, there are animes where I'm like, the gore, the blood, yes, this is great. But this anime didn't need that. It needed to have these bright colors because it's trying to show you all these lessons. It kind of puts you past the blood. It makes you think. More so, the show was not about the zombie apocalypse, but from breaking free from those chains. Break free from your corporate chains. Why wait? In the early episodes, they really showed meticulous detail in Akira's workplace. They showed everything. They really made you feel like you were working that corporate job with him. And I'm about to go into episode by episode kind of what happens and kind of tell you what I thought about them. But I really wanted to touch base on how the colors and the animation changes throughout the series. So at first, like, the animation's beautiful. The scenes, the way they chose to show certain people in certain frames at certain times, I loved it. It was great. I thought it was seamless. And the series adapts as you watch through the episodes. This isn't, oh, this is what you can expect every single episode. Now, of course, a lot of people think it kind of was repetitive because there are multiple zombie attacks, but that's the problem. And every story has an antagonist, a protagonist, and a problem. The protagonist's job is to solve that problem. And of course, we find out that that is his entire goal. A lot of fans commented how they struggled towards the end balancing intricate visuals and production displays. I didn't necessarily notice a drop. The thing is, we go from this bustling city and we start working towards the outskirts of the city, which we then end up at this little like homey Japan village. It kind of made sense why things were so crazy in the beginning because you're in the middle of the city and then you're moving out towards this little village that's like literally a combine that's fenced in. It made sense why the visuals and the colors changed. Now, if people think it should have been the opposite, if they think he should have started in the village and then moved to the city to find his parents, I don't think that would have made sense with the story because this is about him going back to his roots and finding the people that loved him and doing all the things and telling them all the things that he wanted to tell them that he was never able to. He didn't even think of it because he was so busy with his corporate job. He had all this pressure and all of these things he had to do in his personal life. He didn't even remember to tell his mom and dad that he appreciated everything that they ever did for him. I don't think that the animation or the colors had a drop off, but a lot of fans did say that they did. They thought that the animation and the intricate details kind of fell off throughout the series. I disagree, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that is the fantastic thing about a review. You get to think what you want to think, and I get to think what I want to think. Kotaro Takada, Hera Aso. Hera Aso, Takaro Takada. Hera Aso, Takara Takada. Hera Aso, Takara Kotaro Takada. Jesus. So this was written by Hiro Aso. That is the author of the manga and anime. It was illustrated by Kotaro Takada. I haven't really watched or read many mangas or animes that have been written by someone and illustrated by someone else. Now, I know a lot of mangakas have specific illustrators for backgrounds or for colors or what, you know, they have different illustrators for different things, but I've never really heard of like two different people yet. And I know that they're out there. Drop comments if you want to recommend me some. I'd love to watch some. I just personally haven't really deep dive on any animes that have had an author versus an illustrator. So that was really interesting to me because I can see the quality of the story because Hiro Aso was able to focus on the story and really develop it for what it should be. And Kotaro Takada was able to illustrate and focus on the art and how he wanted to portray the story. He didn't have to worry about the semantics of who's the romantic interest, who's the protagonist, how do they fight, is it overwhelming to have these two people say these things. He simply illustrated it, which is awesome, which gave us a totally different story than if there would have been one author or illustrator. I wanted to mention that Hiro Aso is 44 years old. He was born in Osaka, Japan. His notable works are Alice in Borderland, ZOM 100, Bucket List of the Dead, and No You Girl. Alice in Borderland is a 3-episode miniseries, which I would love to watch. I kind of really like watching these animes and finding out what these mangakas created other than the one that I'm watching, and then kind of go and watch those. So Because Alice in Borderland is a 3-episode series, I will definitely be taking a peek at that. No You Girl is only a manga, and it's about something with girls in a hot spring. If you've ever read No You Girl, drop some comments. I am very interested. I just don't know if I want to buy a series per se because my manga collection is pretty small. It's very limited right now. So I don't know if I'd want to buy a series about something I know nothing about. Alice in Borderland is on Netflix if you want to watch it as well. No You Girl, I'm sure. I don't think you can find it at a library just because it sounds like it's about girls in hot springs. It could be a little meh, R-rated or seinen or josei related. I did also want to mention that I know we mentioned at the beginning of the video, but there is a live action film on Netflix, and it sounds like the feelings are mixed about the live action. So I am definitely going to watch the live action. If you want any live action reviews of animes, definitely drop it in the comments. I haven't really seen much interest on the live actions as far as reviews go. So that's kind of why I've been focusing more on animes and kind of just watching whatever pops up on my For You on Netflix. So if you want to see something like that, definitely drop a comment and I will consider doing a solo episode or maybe talking Caitlin into watching one with me, because I watched the One Piece and the Avatar live action. Woo. So good. I've never watched Avatar. So good. So I'm sure I'll like it. If you want a review, let me know. Let's dive into episode by episode recap and analysis of ZOM 100 Bucket Lists of the Dead. Within seconds of the episode starting, you understand Akira's goal. His name's Akira Tendo. He's our main character, and his goal is to succeed at his corporate job and to please his boss. Then he ends up with a work crush, Miss Otari, and finds out that she ends up being the CEO's side chick, who's like some nasty pig, which is super disappointing because you're like, oh, he's gonna be with this super hot girl, and then he doesn't end up being with the super hot girl. So that's fine. That's fine because she was kind of dim anyways. Then the spiral begins. So we see him really want to succeed at this job. He meets all these work friends. They're going out for drinks. He's trying. He's doing his best. He's excited. And he says, like, I'm going to do my best. We get into the episode and you start seeing things get a little more muddy, a little more chaotic. People are quitting. People are sleeping at the office. And you're like, what is going on here? And this is like literally within the episode. Like, this is like first episode. All these things are changing. You see it go from, oh my gosh, I'm going to have, it's almost like it presents the first episode is a slice of life anime with him trying to succeed at this job and showing he's going to make all these friends and meet all these people. Who's that guy he works with? Who's that guy he works with? Here's characters they're going to introduce. And then the zombie apocalypse hits. And you're like, wait, we're never going to meet them? They died? Okay, we're moving here. He decides to make a bucket list after the zombie apocalypse hits. And that's why it's called ZOM 100, Bucket List of the Dead. He is going to make a bucket list of all of the things he wants to do before turning into a zombie. So each episode, he's kind of trying to cross these things off of his list. There's this point right before the apocalypse. He's writing and he's working as hard as he can, and he's tired. He's got the bags under his eyes. His eyes are red and they show a close-up frame of his eyes bloodshot, and I can just like literally feel what that's like to be worked that hard. His pencil snaps and something snaps in him where it's like now he doesn't even have the drive to succeed. He just has the drive to survive. There's no fight or flight anymore. You're not fighting, you're not flighting, you're just simply existing. And that feeling sucks. He's like getting ready in the morning and he's like literally crying about how he doesn't want to go to work. That hit home. You know, I know a lot of you out there probably cry before you have to go to work. And like, I know it's like, we were really serious before. And like some people make fun of like, oh yeah, everybody cries before you have to go to work. But like some people do. Like some people really don't want to go to their job. He goes to his job and boom, zombie apocalypse. For me, it was almost like the spinning camera in like a movie where the camera's spinning around the main character, like seeing everything that's happening. And he was like, like, I'm free. I'm free. Immediately his first thought was, I never have to work again. And this is great. And he's like throwing his briefcase and his papers. And he's like, you know what? I need to check on Miss Otori. His love, his work crush, his first love. He needs to check on her. What is she doing? Is she okay? It's a zombie apocalypse. They can hang out now. And when he goes there to present his wellness check, well, she's with the CEO. And the CEO is a zombie. And she's dead. And she was scary. That was a zombie that scared me. Miss Otori. She was the first scary zombie where like the other zombies, I was like, okay, zombies, I'm not really scared. She was terrifying. She was like a witch running at him. It was very scary, and she had like the little twitch. Very, very, very great. I love that you took a romance interest, showed us that she meant a lot to him. He liked her. That's the romance interest. Bang, dead episode 1. That's what I like. Give me trauma. Episode 2 starts and Akira's cleaning. And he's like, bang, 3 years of cleaning, done. And that hit in here so hard, because when I worked at the cafe, I couldn't imagine a setup like this. I couldn't imagine like being cozy in my home and like liking it, you know, like the entire time I was at the cafe, I was like, I need to make this money. I need to save this money so I can get a home that I like. But like, home is what you make of it. I love where I'm at now. But when he did the 3 years of cleaning, I just washed my walls like 3 days ago. I literally took the spin mop, the viral spin mop, and I washed all my walls. I bought that viral spin mop 2 years ago and I used it one time. Now I can say I've used it twice. And that is a sticker day for me. Sticker days are like kindergarten when you get a sticker for being good. Rewards, people. When you're trying to work through mental health, give yourself rewards. So he completes his 3 years of cleaning, and I did too. He like was drinking beer, and like you can see in the previous episode 1, that he had garbage everywhere, but he was drinking a beer, and like beer is like his lifeblood. So he's like, okay, gotta go get more beer. I'm out. He said, I'd rather be eaten by zombies than live another second without a cold one. So we see a little glimpse of his neighbors, and he's going down like the drain pipe for the roof of the building, and he runs across his neighbors as like the zombies are banging at their door, and he's like, what's going on? And they're like, Akira, and he's like, yeah, I'm right up there, blah blah blah. And he's like, do you need anything? I'm going to the store. And they're like, you're what? So they ask for some stuff at the store, and Akira's off on his way, and he's on his little pedal bike. And this is when we see his mode of transportation is the pedal bike. And I love it, because I don't think I would be caught dead on a pedal bike in a zombie apocalypse. I wouldn't be caught dead on anything. I'd probably be caught dead. And now we kind of see like his freedom in episode 2, where we see all these beautiful colors, and there's a very bold depiction of the art styles between his corporate job with the blacks, whites, and the grays, and now it's a zombie apocalypse. And I think that that's why they chose to make the blood this rainbow color, and almost like a rainbow splatter of the cyan, yellow, and magenta, because they really showed like, look, he's free. We're all free to do whatever we want. He gets to the store and he runs into this very calculated woman. She's like stocking up on like actual supplies that she needs to survive the zombie apocalypse, and he's there for beer and then the few other things that he's getting for his neighbors. And she's kind of like, ugh, like she doesn't even acknowledge him, because she's like, literally, you're here to buy beer? Like, are you joking? Seconds later in the episode, there was this zombie truck. Zombies can like drive trucks or something, I guess. And they drove into the store and they almost killed Akira. And this like unnamed woman pulls him from getting killed. And he's like, oh, you saved me. And she's like, out of there. You know, like she literally, this girl does not care about him at all. And he's like sitting on it. And we see little glimpses of her and her past, or her and her like daily life, about how she's kind of trying to live through the zombie apocalypse as well. And she's doing all this research, trying to figure out everything she knows. She has a wicked ass desk setup. I'm obsessed with desk setups. If you can't tell, I have my Otakuettes. Oh, my Otakuettes setup. So cute, right? So I really love that, you know, she has a super cool desk setup, and she's like typing and walking with a little walking pad, because one day one of my goals or dreams is to have a standing desk with a walking pad underneath so I can work and walk. She's very calculated. She's very tech savvy. She proves brain and brawn kind of go hand in hand, especially in a zombie apocalypse. And then we see Akira towards the end upgrade to a motorcycle. So he's upgraded. He pulls up to the apartment building, finds out his neighbors are dead, eaten by zombies. That was kind of sad. I was like, oh fuck, I knew it was gonna, like I knew it. I knew they were gonna meet these cute little neighbors that are like this couple that's adorable, that's just trying to survive. They're like terrified they won't go down the freaking drain pipe to go get food or medicine or anything. And they're dead. So he climbs back up, drinks his beer. End of episode 2. Episode 3, we introduce Kenshal. I love Kenshal. My hair today is parted to the side, but I have a middle part now, and I have like these 2 little pieces that kind of sit like Kenshal's pieces, and I love it. I love Kenshal's hair. His entire character design is freaking hilarious. Akira calls Kenshal. Kenshaw's about to be eaten alive by zombies. The chick that he's sleeping with, he's like at a brothel, which I didn't really understand that, but I was like, oh, Kenshaw's really nice. He's like, I need your help, Akira, because the girl he was sleeping with at the brothel like turned into a zombie, and she was a zombie, and she's like bonded, strapped to the wall, and there's all these zombies outside, and Akira's like, no, don't sweat it, Kenshaw, I'm on my way there right now. And Kenshaw's like, no, don't come here. Akira hangs up the phone, goes, busts Kenshal out of the brothel. They go to the roof because there's this horde of zombies chasing them. And we see a lot about Kenshal and Akira's past and like the obstacles that they encountered together as friends throughout their friendship. And they have to jump off this roof together. Their bond is a lifeline, and it's really showing the struggles of toxicity in a workplace and why you need to rely on your friends and family, and you need to be honest with them about how you're feeling so they can help you. They can help pull you out of the trenches. And honestly, their friendship is goals. I mean, I have a friendship like that, but I'm just saying, like, goals for you. And they jump off the roof, they survive, they live. Of course, Kenshal does it naked. That's the first time we see him naked, and it is so fucking funny. But let's go on to episode 4. This is when Akira's insecurity kind of takes center stage. He can't get a date. Kenshal always got dates. He can't. That was one of his insecurities. They come across these flight attendants, and one of the things on the bucket list, so him and Kenshal added a couple things in episode 3 to the bucket list that they both wanted to do. Wine and dine. Wining and dining is basically where you like have flight attendants is like how they wanted it, but wining and dining is you have wine, you dine with people, and you're kind of like on multiple dates. Like sometimes it's double dates, sometimes it's like 5 people. You're a group of men wining and dining a group of women in hopes to like meet somebody. They meet these flight attendants. There's a super weird guy that's there, and they wine and dine them. And one of the girls really likes Kenshal. Who wouldn't? Girls were always attracted to him, remember? And another one of the girls likes Akira, and they actually have like a moment on the stairs when the weird guy that was with them turns into a zombie. She sacrificed herself because as Kenshal's getting laid and as Akira's making connections with these women that they like, there's a zombie in there, and it's that weird guy who was like bitten and didn't tell anybody about it. So the girl that Akira likes sacrifices herself for Akira. And that's like Akira's second love. And it's adorable because you can tell he's like, but remember, this is a zombie show and we do have to keep the show moving. So why not sacrifice all of the supporting characters every episode to make sure that our main characters continue to survive? Sorry, even in the apocalypse, love comes as a price. They were able to cross off wine and dine on their bucket list. So what's a few more bodies? Episode 5. This episode gave me chills. Happy tears too. Like I really like this episode. Akira saved Shizuka. Shizuka is the girl that we met in the convenience store / gas station, whatever it was, in episode 2. She was the calculated woman, remember? The techie one. And he saves a group that was trapped in the aquariums. So there's this group that's running from zombies, and Akira and Kenshal like come to the rescue from the aquarium. Of course, Kenshal stays back. He's like not super about the action. Akira puts on the shark suit, so he's protected from zombie bites, which I was like, so smart. You literally are so smart, Akira. Like, you were gonna save all these people. In this group of people that he's saving, as Kenshal's hoarding them into the aquarium, he makes eye contact with Shizuka. When they get in the aquarium, they kind of had this like argument, and Shizuka goes on this long rant about how he has a hero complex and he's not a hero, and here are all the reasons why. And like him and Kenshal, like she's talking for so long, they're like, this chick's ridiculous. A lot of it that she said was like, okay, kind of true. Like he's just doing it to like make himself feel better. Sure. And like that, I think was on his bucket list, was like save people from zombies or something, like, or become a hero. That's what it was on the bucket list. Become a hero. Now we enter Zombie Shark. There is a shirt on my Christmas list on Amazon of the Zombie Shark from ZOM 100, and I just need it so bad. I need it so bad. The fact that they said, how do we combine this? Like, okay, the shark suit, right? Great. Aquarium, that makes sense, a shark suit, right? But then they pulled the shark into it, and they were like, the shark turned into a zombie because it ate other zombies. Oh, crazy. The zombies poked through the bottom of the shark, and now they're one unit. That was next level. Kenshal and Akira save the entire group of people, except guess who was locked out of the door because of this dumb bitch that fucking pushed her down. There's this girl in episode 5 that pushes down Shizuka, and I get so pissed. I'm like, no. And then, of course, she gets locked out as the shark's running towards her. Guess who gets round 2 to support the hero complex of Akira? Akira, obviously. So he jumps through the vent. He tries to help Shizuka. Kenshal even comes to help. He's naked. He's shaking his butt. He's like, come eat this, shark. Zombie shark. Again, throughout this entire series, he keeps telling himself, I'd rather be eaten alive by zombies than work another day at work, or not have a cold one, or not cross off things on my bucket list. Because he never wants to get stuck in that corporate hellhole. He never wants to be with these pressures from his boss or his job ever again. So they save Shizuka in episode 5. Akira's heroism really shines through in his efforts to save everybody. And this episode is proof that we're all capable of great things when we're not crushed by society. Episode 6, The Gang. Akira, Kenshal, and Shizuka, which Shizuka never wanted to travel with them. She said no at the end of episode 5, so I didn't think that she was going to be traveling with them. Alas, they become a trio, and they decide that they need a camper because I think they say, like, all great zombie movies and TV shows, they all travel in a camper. It's the best way. And Shizuka's like, well, actually, like, they travel in a camper because it's the most realistic for needing to cook, eat, sleep, go to the bathroom on the go. So, like, all of them are fighting over which camper they want. They're all fighting over which camper they want, and like they're showing all the campers. One of my close family friends, they work at a camper repair place. They like build these campers and RVs. So to see all these was super cool because my boyfriend's like, whoa, what the heck? Like campers in anime? That's so cool. Cue Shizuka's like fangirl moment, and she's been like a hard ass like for these first 6 episodes. Every time we saw her, she was like, she's so determined, and we saw a lot about her past with like her dad and the way that she like kind of struggled with what she's supposed to be and what she's supposed to do, and how her dad really hits down hard on her. And a lot of you can probably resonate with that. I know that a lot of you are going to be able to relate with different characters and the things that they struggle with. So drop a comment depending on which character you probably resonate most with, whether it's their backstory or just the way that they act, or maybe you just like them. But we see her fangirl moment, and Shizuka sees this camper and she's like, nah, and they finally do like a traditional anime scene with all the sparkles and all the flowers, and she's like, oh my god, this and this and this and that, and she's like swaying side to side, naming all of the things that she likes about it. And the boys are standing there like, yeah, that's what I thought, we knew it. And then of course zombies break in, they jump in just any given camper, and they gotta go. I thought that was gonna be the episode 6 is them driving on the road, and Kenshal's on the bike, and Shizuka and Akira are in the camper. They run over spike strips, and this was a total plot twist, because I'm like thinking like this is going fun, like we're getting the gang together, and of course this is how shows should be. There should be rising action to a climax, and then there should be resolution. When they run over the spike strips and Kenshal gets fucked up on the ground, and then his boss, his old boss, and the fact that it was so triggering at the end of this episode, it all starts to come back, and I got this little tummy ache where I was like, no. And he's like, how about you work for me and I'll help your friend over there? What do you say, Akira? And you can see that he's like struggling and he's like triggered, and Shizuka's like, don't do it, like we'll figure it out, don't. Akira. And he does it. Episode 7. Enter Kosugi, the boss from hell. Akira's old habits resurface, and we see him slaving away again for this same freaking guy who doesn't respect him and doesn't recognize that he's a human being, and he's not meant to be slaved away. He's not meant to do all this hard work. He's not meant to work for you. Humans can be great when they're not held down by shackles. And his friends finally call him out for like not standing up for himself, but it took a zombie attack for Akira to kind of like get knocked in the head and realize, oh my gosh, I don't want to work for you. I don't want to do this. Kosugi actually gets put in a very life-threatening predicament because he's surrounded by zombies. And you know what? Akira does so much to save almost all of those people in the Combine. Then Kosugi kind of has to like have his tail behind his legs, and he's like, fine, all of you can still work for me. And everyone's like, Akira was a better boss for 5 minutes than you were for months throughout the zombie apocalypse. Months. So then everybody peels off and leaves Kosugi, which he deserved because he's slimy. I hate Kosugi. He is triggering for me too, if you cannot tell. It just reminds me of like, oh gosh, this is even hard to talk about. It reminds me of like just the pressures from like my upper management, and it sucks. Like the hardest thing, the thing that sucks the most is that they just don't think about the mental strain that it can put on somebody when you're expected to do something, and then every single day you feel like you're not doing what needs to be done, and you constantly try so hard. Like I said, this is like a deep dive on ZOM 100, happy bucket lists of the dead, but it's also like, it's really deep because it's really relatable for me, which is probably why I liked it so much. Because I'd rather be eaten alive by zombies than work another day at my old job. Episode 8. Enter Beatrix. She is a sushi-loving tourist who is stranded on the side of the road with a truck full of fish that she is delivering to one of the last sushi artists, sushi cooks, sushi chefs. There we go. Sushi chef. Wow, that's hard for me. I was in speech class for my cha, like chips with the CH, and my sh, like shoes with my SH. So sushi chef, sushi chef. Well, I tried. Her life goal was to have sushi in Japan. And as she arrives in Japan, the zombie apocalypse hits. Her skill and her charm, and like I believe that she is from the Netherlands. I can't remember if she's from the Netherlands or from Germany, but she has this beautiful accent, and she's like all dressed up in like the samurai outfit, and she was obviously practicing like her swordsman skills, like her sword skills. Wow, I'm really struggling with the S's for quite a while before she came to Japan. And you can tell that she's like polished up and she's ready. So like the group, of course, gets hoarded by zombies. They have to kill all the zombies just like always and save the fish so they can bring it to the sushi chef. And Beatrix is like really fun. Do I think she was a necessary character? Not really. I love Shizuka Kenshal, and I know they needed another person to be part of their group, because who doesn't love animes that are gaining party members to conquer the world or save the world or change it? So I understand they needed a fourth person. Beatrix, was there things that we could change and make better about her? Yes, but I love the fact that she's not from Japan, and that the whole reason she went there is because her life goal was to have sushi. So that's kind of how they were able to tie it in with this episode, because they deliver the fish to the sushi chef. He is one of the last living ones in Japan, and he's happy doing what he loves. For some people, there are jobs out there that they love. He said, I'm so happy I get to make sushi for this fine group of people, for you people, one last time. This is all I wanted, was to be able to make sushi for people again. I'm the last open sushi place in Japan. You can have a job that you love. It shows that that's what made him happy. That's what made him feel successful. It was very cool. Not a lot of people would think this critically or this deep about this anime, but they decided to say, fuck corporate society. Fuck working a job that makes you literally drain your life and feel burnt out and like a zombie. But there are people that can work a job, whether it's corporate or not. They could have shown it with corporate. How would they have portrayed that in a zombie apocalypse? They had to use a sushi chef. I mean, they just had to. With Beatrix, it all ties together. So they showed you can be happy at a job. You can love what you do. That can be the thing that you want to do before you turn into a zombie. That's fine. You just have to choose what makes you happy and not put up with the bullshit. And he wasn't. He was making sushi and he loved it. Okay, I think he had on his bucket list like have sushi with friends or something. Or maybe it was have a good dinner with friends. Either way, they got to cross another thing off on the bucket list. Episode 9, the treehouse man was a little random, because what they're doing is they're trying to get to Akira's like hometown village, and I did not like expect the treehouse man. I don't really like remember much of that episode, and I think that I watched it twice because like it just didn't click with my brain. The ADHD was kind of wearing on me a little bit, but he like helps them and he tells them about like these tree houses that he built to like survive the zombie apocalypse, and he helps them get through the forest. So Akira reconnects with his family, and they arrive at the village, and like they see this tunnel on the way to the village of all these zombies that was like blocked off and barricaded by the villagers. So he was like, oh my god, like did they do this? I don't know if they're still alive. And you can tell that he's starting to panic, and as they arrive at the village, he just takes off towards this main house that he like somehow knew everyone was going to be in. It must have been somebody's house, I don't remember whose, and they're all dancing in their underwear. All the villagers are in there, they're alive, and he sees his mom. This guy's like, hey, look, Tendo, your son's here, and he's like, Mom and Dad, and he just starts screaming all of the things he's ever wanted to tell his parents. And this also resonated with me, because like I said, like I was a little brat when I was a kid, and there are a lot of ways that I want to treat my parents now. There are a lot of things that I want to do for them, and it's really all to show them that I love them and I appreciate them, and I am so grateful for everything they've ever given me, and they never stop giving, because what I've always wanted from them is their love and support, and they're always giving me that. So if they ever watch this, I love you, Mom and Dad. I love you so much. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is so cute, because it like I said, it really resonates with me. I know I'm not talking about it at that deep of a level, but just like literally even thinking about that episode and the next couple episodes that we have coming up, like this whole end of the series, like it really put everything together. Like your family and your loved ones are the most important thing in your life. Other than you, hold those things to a higher standard, put them up on a shelf and protect them because they're everything. And his question throughout episode 9 was, how can I repay them? So he tries to help his mom. His mom's like, no, honey, you rest. Why don't you go see if your dad needs any help? So he tries to go help his dad outside. And he's asking his dad all these questions like, how do you do this every day? And he's like, if I didn't, who would? And he's like, yeah, but what about your dream? What about your dream? And his dad kind of gets pissed off at him. And towards the end of episode 9, he finally connects with his dad. When he was drinking with his dad, I had like the butterflies again, because I've been able to connect with my dad on a different level in the last couple of years than I have when I was a kid. They sit on the porch and they have a couple drinks together and they talk. His dad like tells him like, dream big, dream as big as you can. That scene was just such a great representation of the connection that I've made with my dad lately, where like we can be two adults and sit and have a conversation and just enjoy each other's presence. And of course, like a father, Akira's father, just like my dad, will give you words of wisdom and you'll nod and you'll listen and then you'll remember those words forever. I was one of those people that was blind in the race to grow up. And of course, like we're all adults now. And I'm sure all of us like wish that we could just be kids again and we could just get a chance to do it all over. And you know, that scene with his dad was just, it was so momentous for me, because although we can't be children again, we can still have time like that with our parents. At least I hope you can. And now that I've matured and realizing that all of the things that I want in life are intangible things. It's time, it's connections, it's memories. And being an adult like that feels good to know and recognize that. So episode 10, Kenshal bonds with this little girl because he wants to make her laugh. And he does. They're like best friends now. And that's kind of Kenshal like pursuing his dream with like making girls laugh, as in like him being a comedian. Meanwhile, Shizuka is like the town doctor. And I don't know if you remember, but like in a couple of the previous episodes when we get flashbacks of Shizuka's past and like her interaction with her father, she wanted to be a doctor. As a little girl, she told him like, I want to be a doctor, I want to grow up and help people. And he was like, doctors are like lowlifes. Like, no, you don't. And as she steps into this role as a doctor in the village, she proves to herself that she's unstoppable despite all of her past doubts. And then of course we see Akira still bonding with his family. He gets dreads because that was something he wanted to do on his bucket list, which I thought it was so funny that there was a hairdresser in the village. A lot of people think that like all of these things that they did were unnecessary, like when it comes to the dreads on the bucket list or the hairdresser in the village. But like this season, this entire series is about giving people what they want. What do people want? Let them have it. Let them go for it. Go and get it. That's the reason there's a bucket list. A bucket list isn't just a list to make. Those are things you want to do. Why are you continuing to do anything in your life that isn't putting you closer to aspiring all of your dreams and making them all come true? Answer that question. Why do anything? Why waste any time on something that isn't getting you closer to your end goal? For Akira, that was dreads. For Shizuka, that was being a doctor. For Kenshal, it was being a comedian and making girls laugh. These things can be so small or so big, but ultimately they are their things that they want to do. That's what this series is about. Finding your own success and happiness in your life. You make that decision. Crazy Guy, who I literally will figure out the name of, Higurashi is Crazy Guy, and we see a little glimpse of like him with all these villains back in the city, and they're doing the opposite of the bucket list of the dead. They're doing their 100 bucket list before they die. 100 things, but they're doing their own version of the bucket list, but they're all like terrible things. Like that big guy was like, shove my tongue down a girl's throat, and I was like, oh my god, no. The girl was like, make all of the people that ever talked about me pay, or make people pay or something. And then Higurashi was like, he had written on there, watch Akira turn into a zombie. But I don't think it was Akira's name. I think it was something like, watch the people I hate most turn into zombies. That's what it was. He releases the zombies from the tunnel. And I was like, no, like this is finally like the home life that I like. Like this is my favorite thing about animes, is like the hometown villages and the sliding doors. And I was like, no, they're gonna ruin it all. They're gonna ruin it all. So then the zombies are released, and episode 11 is like everyone doing their own part in trying to save the village. And it's very chaotic at first. It is like, this is like, okay, here we go. This is like zombie apocalypse. Like this is real. Like we see these people that we built a little bit of a connection with, and they're about to lose everything that they were working towards after they finally were able to catch a breath, barely. And that's what zombie apocalypse shows are all about. So the reunion with his dad is everything. Akira's tearful speech gave me like all of the feels about like saving his parents. And the humor in episode 11 with the cesspit had me dying. But we do see some dark parts in this episode. Obviously we know Higurashi wants to make sure Akira turns into a zombie. That's like his goal. I don't know what that bigger guy is called, but he wants to shove his tongue down Shizuka's throat, and that was a fucking very scary scene because I did not know what we were about to witness there. They really made this episode about the husband who didn't treat his wife right. And this is the guy that's fighting on top of the roof with Kenshaw when Kenshaw's trying to protect the girl, which brings us to like the cesspit scene. We see all these flashbacks of this guy's life, and like Kenshaw yells at him and he's like, "Did you ever treat your wife like she was everything? Did you ever treat your wife like she was the world to you?" And I was like watching this and I was like, oh shit. Like at first I was like, man, like this, because they truly like let you into the villain and like what happened to them and why they're so upset. And you get to see that with Higurashi, the guy who wants to shove his tongue down someone's throat, the husband who wasn't really husbanding, and the corporate bitch. Like you see why they're so sour. And then you kind of get this like renewed light, because at first you're like, man, like I understand why they're like that, but why are they doing this to my people? But like when Kenshaw yells that and he's like, "Did you ever treat your wife like she was the center of your world, like your queen?" I was like, damn Kenshaw, like you were right. What I thought the lesson was to take away was that one decision, one word, one smile, one look, it can make people think. And like I talked about in the beginning of the video, like the voices in my head, they never stop. They never shut up. I can't imagine what they're like for other people. And sometimes I forget about that. Like people aren't always thinking about me. And it's hard when you have anxiety. You know, it's very hard to think about that. Oh, they're probably not even thinking about me. They probably didn't even think that. Sometimes they're not even thinking about me at all. So to see in this episode all of these things taking place and everything transpiring and just going to shit because of all these villains and things that happen to them, it proves the point, and it teaches you this lesson that one thing that you do or say, you have a power. You have the power of your words and you have the power of your actions, and you can make a positive influence on someone's life, or you can make a negative influence on someone's life. Don't forget that. There is one thing that you can do, and it can change the course of events in someone's life entirely. You could smile at somebody and show someone kindness, and you could have saved their life. You could have changed their day. And it's the small things like that that matter. Or you could be rude or mean to somebody, and it could do the same thing. You have a power. Don't use it in the wrong way. There's a lesson there. Treat others how you want to be treated. Treat others with kindness. Be accepting of everyone. Be accepting of all walks of life. We're all here. We're all just living our first life, trying to get through this together. And a lot of us feel alone. So don't single people out. Don't make people feel alone. Be kind. Be nice. Okay, episode 12, the last episode of the 12-episode series. The finale is emotional and very action-packed. Akira fulfills his promise to protect the village and embraces his mighty big dream, which, if you remember in his speech from his dad says, pick a dream, have a dream, the biggest dream you can imagine, and go for it. So this is when Higurashi has his dad, and he's holding his dad against his will because he wants Akira to come out and turn into a zombie. Like, I thought Akira was like saving his dad, and then Higurashi came with the tractor and like took his dad. Oh, it was terrible. I was just sitting there like, no, not his dad. No, like they're finally friends. No. And his dad gives him this speech, and he says, Akira, if you want to do anything for me, if you want to save me, show empathy. Show empathy to others. Feel for others. Look out for all of humanity. When you show empathy for others and you feel for them, I will be watching you from heaven. That's how you will pay me back. That is how you will make me happy. Gave me literal tears. Like, actually, he gave that little speech and I was like, no, he's actually gonna die. He's gonna die. And like, his speech was so good. He was telling him to go on and go forth, and it just confirmed everything that I was thinking, every lesson that I was being taught, every single episode throughout the series, it confirmed it. I was like, this is about being kind to people. This is about the corporate hellhole. This is about workplace workloads, sitting on your shoulders and being too much. Everything that I was feeling in my personal life was resonating and relating. And it was confirmed with the speech that his dad was giving him in the final episode. So Akira plans this little fake thing where he's a zombie and he walks out, he saves his dad, and then Higurashi and Akira kind of have this like coming of peace. And that's another thing that just adds on to you can choose how you're going to treat people. And if you want to be nice to people and if you want to recognize what they're going through, that just might help them get through what they're going through, and it might just save their life. That's heavy. Let it be heavy. Higurashi, he wanted to swim in the pool like when he was a kid, like at summer break. And as he's turning into a zombie, after he saves Akira from the zombies, and he swims in the pool, and guess who's in the pool with him? Akira. And that was so sweet because he just wanted to be his friend. So then in like the last few minutes of episode 12, we see everything kind of wrap up. There was the Japanese spider lily, and there was a white one in this scene as everything's kind of going from very serious, very detrimental to lighter and wrapping up the series. And this white Japanese tiger lily has blood on it. And when I saw that, I like was watching the screen and I was like, glasses glare, like, oh, this is it. This is it. It was very good because they show those spider lilies in Inuyasha, and that like the spider lilies, they resonate with me. They resonate. They touch my little heart. The suspension bridge, of course. Mr. Komato, the treehouse guy, comes and helps and like literally saves them from the zombies. And Kenshal and Akira are like hanging off of a bridge. And we see Akira and his mom like in the house with his friends, and like Akira's crying and she's like, you know, I don't know how your dad's gonna live much longer. Like he's in a lot of pain. And he's like, so what's going on with dad? And she's like, hemorrhoids. And everyone's like, hemorrhoids? Because this whole time we thought his dad had like high blood pressure, or he was gonna have like a heart attack, or he had like cancer, this life-threatening disease, and he has hemorrhoids, which yeah, can be very painful for people. I totally understand that. And I understand if you're working in a field, hemorrhoids are probably very painful, but we didn't think that was gonna happen. So his dad is going to ultimately still live quite a bit longer, which was very, very, very heartwarming to find out, because his and his dad's connection is really what drove Akira to make this final 4 episode journey to get back to his home village. And of course, they decide that they want to continue on their journey. And, you know, we see this little closing scene, which we think is going to be the end. And it's all of them, Akira, Shizuka, Beatrix, and Kenshal, writing all of these things on the bucket list. I want to write this, I want to write this. And Akira's parents are watching them. And it's very cute. And you're like, oh my God, this is the end. But then the scene opens up again, and the village is setting them up so they can continue on their journey because they want to keep going. And Akira has on the bucket list, he wants to save the world. And I just think with all of the lessons and all of the things that they taught you in this series so far, they could easily make a season 2. And I wish they would. Because so far what I found out is that they're not making a season 2. And like season 1 is like, it's not discontinued because they finished season 1, but it's like canceled. Like it didn't get enough views. Not enough people watched it. And that's super sad and super disappointing because I think that this anime is very deep. I think that we have used entertainment and watching films as a outlet for many different things, whether it's connecting, whether it's just to take our mind off of things, or as a form of entertainment. And this series did all of those. It took my mind off of what was happening in my personal life, helped me connect and realize the mental struggles I was having and kind of work through them and actually feel like I'm not alone. And then it taught you all these lessons throughout the series. So although it might not be that deep for some people, it was deep for me. And that's why I'm making this video. They did it. They survived. People can lose sight of themselves and experience pain. Anyone could have become like Higurashi. Little things that happen can alter the trajectory of people's lives. A simple smile can change someone's day or their entire life. Show kindness. Do your best to help humanity and do what you can to help the world. Show empathy to others. Care for others. Care for yourself. Because like I said, everything starts with you. You have the power to make it a great day. Pursue your happiness and live like tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Tell the ones you love that you love them. Spend time with them. Take time to take a bath or a shower today because you deserve it. You deserve everything that is coming to you in all of the best ways. Is ZOM 100 worth watching? I think so. Not a lot of people agree. Some reviews point out fan service, and with Beatrix bosoms, maybe there is, but this is an adult series. It's about zombies. It's about adults. A lot of people mention the occasional drop in quality and overly goofy humor. I guess I would disagree with both of those statements. For me, that's how the heartwarming message came across. It was funny and it was deep and it was dark, but it was also light and it was surface level. Like, yeah, like no shit, be nice to others. No shit, jobs suck. No shit, none of us want to work every day. But at the same time, I was like, man, I don't feel alone anymore. I feel like not only was I heard by this character that's on my screen, but like the creator, Hiro Aso and Kotaro Takada, they heard me. They understand what that's like. And maybe that's why they're mangaka. I don't know. I wanted to read this review from IMDb. It's hard to fathom how a movie with such a promising concept could go so incredibly wrong. ZOM 100 turns out to be an absolute disaster in every aspect. From the lackluster story to the amateurish direction, this movie fails to conjure up even an ounce of excitement or entertainment. So I believe that was about the live action movie, which again, I haven't watched, but it kind of can relate to the anime because they wrote same with the anime. Then I have a Google review. I'm not going to drop any names or who dropped these reviews. I just simply wanted to read some stuff from them. Cute, quirky zombie fun with a good, simple life morale for teens and young 20s that is heavily repeated and presented as black and white. Decent animation and music, not great. Mix of good and bad episodes, should have ended after episode 7, which I severely disagree. Each subsequent episode gradually gets worse. Character arcs are nice but simple, so become flat. Writers lose the plot and increase fan service heavily. Animation becomes sillier, and even the physics change to support superhero punch strength and samurai weapons. Light misogyny, cringe, and fan service relative to other animes, but still a show aimed at teen boys and young immature men with outdated views of women. Humor is mostly goofy and lighthearted, with characters overly caring about seemingly silly things that are meaningful to them. In line with the nice theme of the show, pursuing your happiness, although the constant shtick of the blonde guy and later equivalent blonde girl stripping naked will only work for 15-year-olds. Ending anti-Akira is pretty forced and one-dimensional. Worth a watch, not a rewatch. Does not need a season 2. Have not watched the movie, so no comment on that. I guess I could agree that we don't need a season 2. It was a great series. So I guess I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I'll come to terms with that. It doesn't need a season 2, although I wish there would be, just because I love the story and I love the characters. Hiro Aso, create more. I love your work. You and Kotaro Takada, you work well together and you produce something awesome. Bug Films were the producers of this anime. Great job. I loved it. Seriously, I did. So I know there's a movie. This person says they don't want a second season. That's fine. Maybe they don't need one. But keep creating, because I enjoyed this. I love this production and I would definitely watch more. Awesome anime. So if you've watched ZOM 100, what did you think? Drop some comments. I would love to know how you felt. If you liked it, if you think there should be a season 2, have you watched the live action film? Tell me about your favorite character. I definitely think that mine is Shizuka because she is a tech-geared baddie. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or share. This is Mackenzie, and that was my ZOM 100 Bucket List of the Dead review. I am representing Otakuettes today. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. Did I really do that?